What's good, Josh Gamaka? Welcome back to my channel. The 2024 NBA playoffs are just really good. We're really blessed to have so many great series. We got Mavs Clippers. We've got Pelicans Thunder, who had a great game last night. We got Philadelphia New York, who had a great game one. Boston Miami isn't so great, but that's whatever. Boston was gonna beat whoever. And there's just so many great series. We got Dallas Clippers, Timberwolves Suns. There's just so many great playoff series. So I just want to get my thoughts on just how those series are going to go and just what I think of the playoffs overall. So we've already had a couple of game ones. A lot of them were blowouts actually. Yesterday, well, at the time of recording yesterday, this video, it was just a lot of blowouts. Like Dallas got surprisingly blown out by the Clippers, who didn't have Kawhi Leonard. And it seems that in that game, the Clippers just could not miss from three, and Dallas just had a really rough. The Dallas, kind of tertiary, secondary guys had a really tough time putting the ball in the basket. They were getting a lot of open threes. The Clippers were really, really complacent with about how they were guarding them, and they were really just fine with letting guys that were not Luka and not Kyrie shoot. But Luka and Kyrie still, like in the second half, they played a really great game. They were scoring the ball really well. They were being, a lot more aggressive than they were in the first half, and that's kind of by design, I think, because the Clippers were blitzing them. They were setting two on their screens. They were setting two when Luka was bringing it up the court, and they were letting guys like Dante Exum have to make decisions. Maxi Kleber letting him shoot the ball, and they forced them to kind of go. They forced the Mavericks to go small so they can get some more spacing out there. So they weren't letting them run Derek Lively out there and guys like that, and Gafford. But I think game two for the Clippers and the Mavericks is going to go a little different, because I don't think that the Mavericks role players are going to shoot that poorly again. And I also don't think that James Harden is going to perform the way that he performed. But James Harden had a magnificent game one. Shot the ball really well, makes really well, just was really great at breaking down his defender. And we just saw a little bit of that old James Harden, that with the scoring that he had in that game. But yeah, I don't think that game two is going to go that way. I think that Luka and Kyrie have showed in game one that they really won't have much problems, scoring the ball. But if the Mavericks tertiary kind of secondary guys aren't able to knock down shots and aren't able to kind of put pressure on the Clippers defense, then we might see a similar result. Probably not a blowout in that manner, but we might see them win the game as well. But I'm pretty sure the Clippers feel like they kind of lucked out winning the game without Kawhi Leonard, so they're kind of playing with house money right now. But I think there's going to be a good series. I could definitely see that going 7, but even though they lost game one, I'm still going to say that the Dallas Mavericks are going to win that series. And the next most interesting series to me is Phoenix Suns versus Minnesota Timberwolves. We saw game one. Anthony Edwards had an outstanding game, and he's really showing that he's going to be one of the young faces of the league. And it seemed that whenever Kevin Durant was guarding him, he was hitting all kinds of tough shots, step back threes. He was hitting mid-range shots, getting to the rim as he does. Just a great overall performance from Anthony Edwards overall. And Kevin Durant had a great performance as well. I think he scored over 30, very efficient. But it was Devin Booker who kind of didn't, show up to play that game. He didn't score the ball efficiently. He wasn't scoring much at all. And I think that if the Phoenix Suns are going to have any chance to win this series, they're going to need not every game, but they're going to need most games to feature a great scoring game from Kevin Durant and a great scoring game from Devin Booker. They can't really survive on, based on the strength of their defense. The defense is obviously not that strong, and Minnesota's offense is nothing, insane. They do have Anthony Edwards. They do have Karl-Anthony Towns. They do have some nice guys who can do some stuff off the dribble. But overall, they should be able to outscore the Minnesota Timberwolves if they're going to have any hope to win that series. And that's another series where, like Mavericks and like Clippers, I think it can definitely go 7. But if I had to choose somebody to win that series, I would definitely say the Minnesota Timberwolves, because I think that they have the defenders to, conceivably stop conceivably stop Phoenix more than Phoenix has the defenders to stop Minnesota, because they have Anthony Edwards, who can spend time on Devin Booker, can guard, Kevin Durant some of the switches. He was shown that he can be, a pretty good defender. They have Jalen McDaniels, who has shown that he's one of the best defenders in the league. Well, a great defender for Kevin Durant, who he didn't play that great defense in game one. But it's Kevin Durant. Sometimes he's going to make those kind of tough shots, but they have a pretty good defensive nucleus. Obviously, they have Rudy Gobert, who can clean up a lot of stuff and who's better on switches than people really give him credit for, I want to say. But yeah, man, that series can definitely go 7 as well. But if I had to choose, I would definitely say that Minnesota wins that series. And the next interesting series to me is the New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. And this is a series where you would, as a Knicks fan, you would love to see Julius Randle out there, but the team is the team right now. And I feel that with Embiid playing the way he played last game, Mitchell Robinson played, some outstanding defense on him. He really kind of made him take a lot of tough shots. He really put a lot of bodies on him. They sent, some good, Tom Thibodeau sent some good help towards Embiid in the game that I saw. And Jalen Brunson obviously is a great scorer. He's not going to shoot as poorly as he did in game 1. But then again, you could also say the same thing for Joel Embiid, who shot, I think, 8 for 22 or 9 for 22. So it's just really a balancing act. But the thing about New York is that they have more of a, kind of tertiary. They have better tertiary guys than I would say Philadelphia has. Guys like Josh Hart, guys like OG Anunoby, guys like Deuce McBride. Just a whole bunch of guys who can just step up and kind of carry the load for Jalen Brunson if he's having kind of an off night. But I just think that, the Knicks have one of the better, defensive cores to kind of conceivably stop Joel Embiid. And Tyrese Maxey, he also had a pretty magnificent game, but I do think that the Knicks do have a defender for him, multiple defenders for him in Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, guys like that. So I do think that the Knicks have the offense, the production, the spacing, the help, the team to beat the Philadelphia 76ers, but Embiid is a really big headache. Tyrese Maxey proved to be a really big headache in game 1, and we see it went down to the stretch. So with the game 1 going the way it went, I'm still going to pick the New York Knicks to win this series in about 6. I think that it's going to be really tough for them to stop all of the help that New York has and kind of, keep Jalen Brunson in check. So, yeah, man, that's a series where I feel a little more strongly about my pick in that. And the next series, which isn't that interesting to me, is the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic. And that series isn't that interesting to me because I feel like it's kind of a foregone conclusion that the Cavaliers are going to win that series. Because not that the Orlando Magic are a bad team, I just feel like experience is going to play a big part here. And the Orlando Magic are a pretty young team. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, while a lot of their guys don't have the most playoff experience, they do have Donovan Mitchell. They do have, Darius Garland. They have Jared Allen. They have a lot of talent. And they have the perfect defenders, I would think, to kind of stop what Paolo Banchero does best, which is get to the rim. And Paolo Banchero, he can also shoot the mid-range. He's a pretty good creator for his size. Franz Wagner is a pretty good creator for his size. But I just think that the Cleveland Cavaliers have a really strong offense for that. But on the other end, the Orlando Magic do have a good defender for Donovan Mitchell. Conceivably, like, this is all in theory because obviously it's easier said than done stopping a guy like Donovan Mitchell. But Jalen Suggs, one of the better defenders as a guard in the NBA. I think that he is a pretty great option to have on Donovan Mitchell. But as we saw in game 1, Donovan Mitchell kind of had his way with, whoever the Magic threw at him. And the thing that makes me pick against the Magic in this series is their offense. Their offense was never really highly rated this season. And I think it's going to be their offense that's going to really hold them back in this series. And they're going to struggle to kind of keep up with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's why I'm going to say Cleveland Cavaliers win that series in about 5 games. And the next series I'm going to talk about is the OKC Thunder versus the New Orleans Pelicans. And we saw game 1 of that last night. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, once again, showing why he's one of the best players in the NBA. And he had one of the best defenders in the NBA on him in Herb Jones. And he was still able to, kind of score. I don't want to say score at will, but he was still able to get the shots that he wants to take. He was still able to kind of score efficiently. And we saw Jalen Williams also have a pretty good game. And we just saw, OKC be OKC. The OKC we have been seeing, all year long. And as far as New Orleans goes, because they are missing Zion, like even if they did have Zion, I still think OKC will probably win this series. But without Zion, I think it was really tough for New Orleans to kind of get that, lead guy, that primary guy. TJ McCollum stepping up into that role has not really been the best. Brandon Ingram kind of stepping into that role was not the best last night. So I think that the New Orleans Pelicans have a lot of, great wing talent. They have Herb Jones. They have Trey Murphy, who had a pretty good game last night. But I just think that they don't have that lead guy to where their offense can kind of run through them. So I think that they're going to kind of struggle to score more than OKC is going to struggle to score against them, if that makes sense. So that's why I think, OKC is probably going to win this series. I would say about 6 games because although the Thunder did win last night, it was pretty close and things definitely could have gone the other way. But I do think that overall, the OKC Thunder are a better team and they're going to prove to be, more difficult for the Pelicans than the Pelicans are going to prove to be difficult for the Thunder, if that makes sense. And then the next and last series I want to talk about is the Denver Nuggets versus the Los Angeles Lakers. And this series is one where I think it is a foregone conclusion that the Denver Nuggets are going to win, because even though we saw in game one, things were pretty close. Anthony Davis had a great game. LeBron James had a great game. And that was pretty much it for guys, that played well on the Lakers. And what we see in Denver, although Jamal Murray did not have a great game, Nikola Jokic picked up kind of some of the scoring slack there, and they were able to pull out the win. But the reason that I think the Denver Nuggets are going to beat the Los Angeles Lakers is because I don't think the Lakers really, this is not just the Lakers thing. I don't think anybody in the NBA has figured out a true plan, a true scheme to kind of stop what Nikola Jokic can do. And it's really a tough thing to ask to stop one of the best players in the NBA. But I think that Nikola Jokic is just so great, and the pieces around just fit so well that it's so tough to stop the Denver Nuggets actions, the dribble handoffs. It's so tough to, not allow the other guys to get involved. And it's really tough to kind of match pace with that offense, because the Los Angeles Lakers, while they do have a lot of offensive talent, it's going to be a tough ask to, go head to head with the reigning champions like that. So I think, even despite LeBron James, Anthony Davis, playing great basketball, being healthy for most of the year, I do think that the Denver Nuggets are probably going to win this series. I would say 4, but I'm going to respect the Lakers a little bit and give them a game. So I do think that this series is going to go 5 games, but I think overall Denver is going to prove to be pretty dominant and probably, make short work of the Lakers. And I would talk about Boston, Miami, but I feel like it's not really worth it, because it's very obvious that Boston is going to destroy Miami. They're without Jimmy Butler. Even with Jimmy Butler, Boston just has one of the better starting fives in the NBA. They have so many ways to attack you offensively. They're just a nightmare to guard. And I give the Miami Heat no hope. They're not even going to win a game, in my opinion. So I'll say 4-0 in that. But yeah, this year, the playoffs are just really, really great. The NBA playoffs, we've gotten blessed with a lot of great series this year. There are so many different ways that, each series can turn out. And I just can't wait to see how, things shake out towards the end of this. So I'm gonna try and be more consistent in these playoffs. We're gonna try and, upload a lot more. We're gonna try and race to 1,000 subscribers, trying to get monetized and all that. So yeah, man, if you take to this video, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.